I've just made my Lee Rigby video. We demand a permanent memorial to Lee Rigby. I hope this goes viral, and I hope people get on board just as they did with the ASL challenge. I think that if anybody deserves a permanent memorial, Lee does, as does his mum. She stood there by the banners that a few of us had paid to get up. And one particular person put a lot of effort into making sure those banners continue to go up. And that was the only place she had to lay a wreath. And I think this country owe it to him. So we do demand that he gets the permanent memorial that he deserves. So that's the first thing that I've done today. Now, this might seem like maybe not the place to have this conversation, but I'm going to bring it up. There's been a guy on my Twitter for quite some time now who has been permanently attacking me, has accused me of benefit fraud. It's a very bad allegation to make, and also for some reason is convinced that I work for Gavin Bobby. Oh, how I wish I worked for that man. Oh, how I wish I did. However, Mr. Darren Mash, yes, you're wrong. And you can report away until the cows come home. Believe you me, it will do you no good. It will, however, give me plenty to laugh at. If you think I'm going to be intimidated by your bully boy tactics, you're wrong. I'm not intimidated by it in any way, shape or form. As for being a benefit fraud, well, I'm pretty certain when I hand over my paperwork to whoever it is you've supposedly reported me to, which clarifies that I have osteoarthritis, fibromyalgia, autoimmune disease, psoriatic rheumatoid arthritis, along with many other problems that I have, which I really don't feel the need to disclose to you, but I have them nonetheless. I think the only person that's going to look pretty damn stupid in this is you. So whatever your reason, other than from what I can see, kissing the arse of Tommy, I fail to see why you've decided that of all the people you're going to attack, it's going to be me. But claiming that I wish to be Tommy Robinson, not true. Not true at all. When Tommy was on holiday, shall we say, I made him a promise before he went away. That promise was that I would make a video. So I did, and I kept my promise. And while he was away, I continued to make videos. And people started to watch them. No, I don't hit thousands of views. I don't expect to hit thousands of views. You then claim that M.A.R.I.A.S is trying to outshine the English Defence League. No, M.A.R.I.A.S is open to anybody, no matter who you may support. People come and stand independently of their own volition. They don't fly colours. They turn up as independent individual people. Surely that is what you would want. Does that not make sense? It makes perfect sense to me. So I don't need to be Tommy. Tommy is who he is. He has his own way of doing things, and he's a smart cookie. You then said that I had put a picture out on a fake profile. Well, let me tell you now, the person in that picture with me is my adopted son. He was about 20 years old when that picture was taken. As you could see, I was a lot slimmer and certainly a lot fitter. So at no point would I have claimed that it was Tommy, which is what you said I had supposedly said, which is complete bullshit. So that's that addressed. So I would take you a little challenge, Darren Mash. Why don't you put your name and your face out there? Because I don't believe you're a man. I believe you're female. Because your entire profile stinks of jealousy. And trust me, I don't have a life that you have any reason to envy. The reason that I do what I do, I've been raped. I know what rape does. There was more chance of these girls talking to me, and I've been proved right. For all the wrong reasons, because I wish to God I wasn't right, and I wish to God it wasn't happening, but it is. For you to try and cause more divisions among people makes you a bit of an ignorant prat, quite frankly. So now that you're addressed, and I'm not going to give you any more than that. I mean, once this goes out, quite frankly, I really don't care who you are or what your issues with me are. I don't care who you have supposedly reported me to, because I have nothing to hide. If you think that I'm a benefit fraud, well, go ahead and report. You're going to look pretty stupid. I, on the other hand, will not. So that aside, I then see a link. Now, this bit, I mean, forget the Darren Mash thing, because he's just a bit of a sado, he or she. I then open up the link today. You'll have to forgive me, because my eyes will be all over the place, because I'm actually looking at it right now. A child protection boss paid off with 134k. 134k. Does anybody else not think that's bizarre? But failed to speak out about abuse by Pakistani gangs, is rehired as a consultant within 24 hours on 1k a day. She took a voluntary redundancy and received a payoff of £134,000. But the next day was rehired to lead an inquiry into family child abuse that she had been in charge with in her former role. Am I the only person that just thinks this a little suspicious here? So you ignored the rape of over 1 million girls, or if it was just Rotherham, 1,400. I mean, you know, let's not quibble over a few hundred more. And then you were rehired on £1,000 a day. I tell you what you should have been. You should have been arrested for failing to do your duty, for failing every girl you chose to ignore, for fear of Islamophobia, for fear of being called a racist. It seems to me that the higher up in power people go, the bigger cowards that they really are. Shame on every one of you that received any kind of money, any, when it came to the rape of those girls. Shame on you. Me, I couldn't have slept at night taking that kind of money for what had happened to those girls. Absolutely no way could I have slept at night. But I'm sure you'll go to bed with a nice, clear conscience. Well, I hope your conscience pricks you at some point in your life and you go to your grave knowing that you willingly ignored the rape of young, predominantly white girls. Now, I get told all the time on my Twitter, you only address Muslim rapists. No, I don't. No, I don't. There were 60 men arrested the other day. One of the men was Sikh. Still put it out on my timeline. Still called him a Sikh. Didn't have loads of Sikhs come on my page and say, well, you can't really call him a Sikh because he wasn't a true Sikh. Didn't do none of that bullshit. But I only address certain crimes, apparently. And let's also get this clear. I address radical Islam and Sharia. I would have thought every so-called moderate Muslim would have been right behind me, stood at the side of me, challenging it with me. If you don't agree with radical Islam and the way it's being radicalised, then why would you not speak out against it? By virtue of the fact that you say nothing, in my eyes, must mean that you are therefore radical. Does it not? Now, I am just a little tired of this now. I am a little bit fed up with opening link after link after link after link after link of rape gangs. And then I listen to a Radio 4 programme. And I will apologise because in my last video I said it was an hour long. It was actually 30 minutes. Unfortunately, I listened to it twice because I couldn't believe my ears. I listened to it twice. So for me it felt like an hour. So I'll apologise for that. That was my error. Now what I can't understand is that they're now targeting vulnerable girls. Girls with learning disabilities. Because they're not credible witnesses. That's why. So they know it's never going to go to court. So they get to walk free. I am curious. What else? What else? Bear with me 1 minute. What else is going to happen before this country realise there is a major issue? I'm watching David Cameron at the moment paying lip service to every person that he thinks he can kiss the backside of, because we're all suddenly go, David Cameron's not such a bad guy, come on now. Well, no, he is. He ignored this problem. And when the EDL started, and when Tommy Robinson started, he started highlighting these issues, David Cameron still ignored them and called Tommy Robinson, basically, he might as well have addressed him as a terrorist. Does anybody else get this? Does anybody else think this makes sense? Because it doesn't make an awful lot of sense to me. So, my point today is this. What's it going to take? Your daughter, your son, your granddaughter being raped before you acknowledge there's a problem? For every moderate Muslim out there, until you stand with us, I'm afraid you are complicit. And if you stand silent, by virtue of your silence, I'm sorry, you must be radical. I fail to see how you could be anything else. Now, me myself, I've got friends that I talk to all the time about this, and some of them are Muslim, and they say to me, yeah, but we're frightened to speak out. Frightened of whom? Who is it you're frightened of? You've no need to fear people like me, or even people like Tommy, or any member of the English Defence League. You don't need to fear them. Come to that, you don't need to fear Britons First. Any of these groups that stand up against radical Islam and Sharia in this country, you've no need to fear them. They'd be proud to have you stand with them. So who is it that you're frightened to stand against? Who is it you're frightened to speak out against? Because from what I can see, it's not me. And it's not people like me, is it? It's your own community. That's who you're frightened of. And I understand that. Like I said, the lady in Hyde Park with me, you could see it for yourself. Anybody who watched the video, it was very apparent how terrified she was. And by Christ, how much courage it took for her to speak out was phenomenal. When the rest of you start standing up and saying, actually, there is an issue, and we do need to address it, I'm afraid you can only be complicit in your silence. So how about you help us by breaking your silence? How about you help us to stop your kids being radicalised, so you don't get your daughters flying off to give birth to little jihadi babies? I mean, if anybody should live in fear, it's the general public of this country, because our government is systematically letting jihadis back into the country. Yet, no need for controlled immigration. Dave? We do need controlled immigration. 100% we need it. We need to know who's coming in, and we need to know who's going out. And if you want to go out and fight along with your jihadi brothers and sisters for a land that you've never set foot on before in your life, I'm sorry, do I want you back? No, not really. And I shouldn't think many others do either. So why don't we stop pandering, Dave, and why don't we start demanding a few changes? You know full well you'll come up with some concocted reason why we can't get out of the EU. What you'll probably do is step down and let old Boris jump into your position and say, well, I never promised you a referendum, did I? We'll all sit back and we'll all pretend that these problems are not happening. We'll all ignore them because we're too much of a coward to stand up and say, we've had enough. And I'm actually thinking about it. Is standing up what we need to do? Or maybe it's sitting down. Could you imagine if every single person, no matter what creed or colour or what background they came from, whether they be Sikh or Hindu or Chinese, Japanese, white, black, American that live in this country, wherever you're from, the Jewish in this country, if they all turned up en masse outside Downing Street and sat down in silence. No violence, just sit down in silence. A silent message to say, we have had enough. That'd be an amazing sight, wouldn't it? But of course, we can't quite get past the bickering amongst ourselves scenario, which I've seen a lot of on Facebook recently. And one group creating another group that creates another group that creates another group. You start with Pegida. Before you know it, you've got Pegida UK, and then you've got Pegida UK official, and then you've got another Pegida. Do you not realise you're actually creating divisions within divisions? Or am I the only person that gets this? Yes, I created M.A.R.I.A.S. It was a good platform and a good way of bridging the gap. I was very fortunate. I had got some really high calibre speakers. I'm fortunate because these people do know me and trust me, and they don't think that I'm out for me. And fortunately, I don't come tarred with some brush as everybody tried to tar Tommy with. And whether we like it or not, whether people want to sit and come to me and go, oh, Tommy Robinson this, oh, Tommy Robinson, I'm a little bit sick of hearing about what other people's opinions of the man is. You are all entitled to your opinions. It does not mean that we should all agree with your opinions, and when I don't agree with your opinions, you want to jump down my throat. Now, I have supported him for the last 4 years, and I will continue to say that man deserves respect. He highlighted the issues that we are only now opening our eyes to. For me, it was different, I'll admit. I will admit, having been raped and beaten on the streets by Pakistanis that tried to force me into prostitution, yes, I am different. Because back then, as a 15-year-old child, I had no idea of the extent of the problem. I didn't. To me, they were just Pakistani men. It's as simple as that. But by then, I didn't bother educating myself. I didn't look into anything. I have since. And why did I? And nobody can take this away from him. I educated myself because I clicked onto YouTube and I stumbled across a video by Tommy Robinson. That's the truth of it. He opened my eyes and he made me educate myself. Whether people love or hate the man makes no difference. You all have only opened your eyes because of what he did alongside those that stood side by side with him and stood up for what was wrong in this country. Do I think he always got it right? No, I don't. But do I think I get it right all the time? No, I don't. We're none of us perfect. It's the beauty of what makes us all so different. The variations of people's personalities is a vital thing. But I will give him the respect that he is due, in as much as he did open my eyes. Nobody can change that. You know, people need to stop sitting there on it going, oh, well, I'm a Tommy Robinson fan, and well, I'm not a Tommy Robinson. I couldn't give a monkey's whether people love or hate the man. At least give him the respect he is due. Sorry, but that is not a lot to ask. Whereas for M.A.R.I.A.S, people can either stand and support us or they don't have to. There is not 1 ounce of pressure coming from me to force anybody to stand with me and oppose any other group. You have your own groups. You have your own identities. M.A.R.I.A.S is a platform for each person to stand individually, independently of their own volition, so that they can stand there and say, I, as an independent person, stand for right over wrong. And you can all stand shoulder to shoulder, and nobody will know which group you belong to. Surely that's a sensible thing to do. Well, I think it is. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am. But if I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up when I'm wrong. That's the nature of who I am. So tonight I will leave you with the woman who's been given a job after failing so many children and women. And I'll leave you with Mr. Darren Mash and his false accusations. Be very careful. We are very close to finding out who you are. Closer than you can ever imagine. And I have no quibbles whatsoever with going to a lawyer and seeking legal advice. See, I don't mind people coming on and the usual Moira joke. Oh, she looks like Myra Hindley. Yeah, give a shit what any troll thinks. I think not. But you made this a personal vendetta for no real reason. So I lay it to you. You can either leave it, because actually it's really not that big a deal, and let's go our separate ways, and you could do your thing and I'll do mine. Or you can continue, and when the time comes, the police will be knocking at your door. Choice is yours. Either way, your trolling won't stop me. I have dealt with far bigger than you for breakfast. So on that note, I hope everybody, I'm sitting in my conservatory, which has just been painted, smells lovely of fresh paint, with my cup of tea at hand, as you can all see. It's always there, somewhere in the background. I hope everybody has a lovely bank holiday evening. Try not to work too hard when you get back to work. Me, myself, I've got some things going on this week. I'm going to have my hands pretty full. So this may be the last video I make for a little while. But I will still be around. You'll still know I'm around somewhere. In the meantime, everybody have a great week, and I'll speak to you all soon. You take care now.